Everybody, so good to see you here today, both online and here in person. It's a beautiful day to be at the Napa Valley Center for Spiritual Living. We know that right now we are in the perfect place. The place to be opening, the place to be joyous, and the place to celebrate the love that is within us and all around us. So as part of this celebration, we like to begin with music. Bodhi is back to bring us a little more. Thank you, Bodhi, for being here.
see, all that I hear, all that I feel is God. All that I have, all that I do, all that I am is God. One more time. All that I see, all that I hear, all that I feel is God. All that I have, all that I do, all that I am is God. All that I am is God.
How beautiful. All that we do is God. Thank you for that reminder today. And another thing that we continue to keep in front of us is our vision and mission statement for this center, because it is a reminder too. So let's look on the screen, whether you're on your small screen or on the television screen here in the sanctuary. Let's read together. We are an inclusive community for spiritual growth and compassionate action. And our mission: we are co-creatively works for everyone by living intentionally, loving unconditionally, and seeing God in all people and all faiths. A glorious affirmation for this morning and for all times. It's a reminder for me on a daily basis about my own vision and mission as well. So thank you for being a part of that. A few announcements before we begin the sacred part of our service. The first one is this is the last Sunday of Women's History Month. I've had a lot of fun this month to talk about the spiritual heroes that we have had that have made this center and so many faiths stronger and wiser and more vibrant because of the feminine presence and the feminine energies in it. But I also want to take just a sidestep of that. I don't really like to bring in a lot of politics because I don't want it to appear as separation when I believe that we are all one. But I've just been so impressed by Ketanji Brown Jackson this week and her presence of mind, because I see her, a lot of people are trying to make her political, but I don't see her as a political appointee. I see her as a person who deserves to be there. And also just that how she comes with her feminine presence. And we know that the feminine presence is one of inclusivity, compassion, kindness, generosity, and bringing people together as one. So I really appreciate her. And also what struck me this week is the passing of Madeleine Albright, who was our first female Secretary of State, and her ability to be both diplomatic but have really clear boundaries about what was not tolerated, what was not okay. And so just those two women today in different generations, and yet bringing the same message forward, I appreciate that. And all the spiritual leaders who have come together with this. A lot of people think of the feminine as not powerful, but it's a different kind of power. It's what we call soft power, which doesn't mean soft power, but it means inclusive power. It's not running over people or pushing people out of the way in order to get what we want. It's including everybody and moving forward in a way that works for everyone. And that's what we're seeking here. So we appreciate that. So we're still in the process of integrating the feminine in with the masculine and moving forward as one. And we're still busting through a lot of myths we have about what women are and what women aren't. And so I appreciate all the women in here, your patience for this among us men. So, and we are moving through this together, which is nice. I did want to mention one thing while I'm kind of waiting for both of them to be in the same room. I wondered if Johanna and Jeannie could come up on the stage for a moment. I promise I won't make you say anything. You're welcome to. I just didn't say. So once you're up on stage, you're welcome to take your mask down. So these two women, speaking of soft power, have decided and are willing to accept the co-presidency of our board of trustees. So I just want to honor them and the truth that they stand in at all times. And then if you have anything wonderful to say about the center, talk to me. If you have any complaints, talk to them, right? Sure, anytime. No. Give them both. Please interact with them. Thank you so much.
It's a learning curve, but you're good. Help us out. Yeah, definitely.
So what they said, for those people online who couldn't hear it because it wasn't on the microphone, is they said it's a learning curve. And so to be kind, I would say, add to that. So, but also this is about transparent leadership. So we want to make sure that what the board is doing is, actually all meetings are open to people, and so like I announced one time that about a board meeting and somebody else showed up. I said, well, you're not a board member, you're just here to show up. And he goes, well, I was really bored in church, so I thought I qualified. No, but really you are welcome. So I also wanted to thank also people that showed up yesterday. We had a group of people who wanted to begin the vision of some courtyard shifts. So we had people yesterday who came with their rakes and shovels, and we moved things around and replanted things. Lori, would you stand up and let's give her a round of applause also. Lori Hart is a professional landscaper, designer, and so she's been kind of guiding us through some shifts that had happened. And Harris Nussbaum, Johanna Muth, Diana Browning, Dana Adams, her son Julius, who you might not know, Marv Leitner, Karen Reed, and myself. If you all could stand up if you're here present, let's give you a round of applause for the work you did. Thank you. Thank you. So you'll see some shifts. It's still in process, you'll notice. So we appreciate, we'll have a couple more work days before Sip and Savor to get some lights, to get a few more things done to make it shiny and sparkly for Sip and Savor. And speaking of Sip and Savor, that is on May 14th for savory food, wine tasting, and auction. We've been rolling things out a little bit at a time, and today tickets are on sale. So until May 1st, we have early bird prices, individual tickets, 2-for-1 tickets that are good deals. To go ahead and get your tickets now would be a good thing. Mary out in the courtyard would be glad to help you, or on our website, there's all the information on the very front page of the website. To get to a page that looks like this, without the little dinosaur thing on the side, but purchase tickets and it'll walk you right through. And then we're still accepting donations for auctions. Your connections with wineries to pour wines or donate wines are appreciated as we continue to build our trove of different auction items. We just got a new one this week I was going to tell you about. It's exciting. If you remember, if you were here last Sunday, either viewing online or in person, Joyfully Cricket was here. Do you remember her? She was a great singer. She has donated a house concert. So you can bid on a house concert. So, it'll be fun, and, you might get a collection of people to bid together to get the, but I think that would be, I personally will be bidding on it. So you're going to have to bid against me. So, and I used to think as a minister, people wouldn't bid against me, but that's not true. I have no clout when it comes to auctions, so. And then also April 9th is the deadline for nominating somebody for the Compassionate Heart Award that we're giving out 3 of those to individuals. We've had about 5 nominations. We're looking for more to kind of look through and choose the ones that have benefited Napa, the bigger Napa Valley, through their compassion and kindness and made a difference. So it's some exciting nominations already, but we're looking for more just to have a complete rounded picture. So if you know of somebody, the forms are online or available here at the center. So thank you for that. And then part of our ongoing services that happen the second and fourth Sundays, we have our Spanish-speaking services. And the Zoom link is available online. If you go to the links, it's right there. Join 12:30 today for the service today with Martha Martinez and Imelda Gomez. And just an evolution. If you know somebody that is a primarily Spanish speaker, send them the Zoom link and have them, a safe way is just show up on Zoom. They can check it out that way. And if they're local and they like it, they can come be in person. About half the people that join on Sunday don't even live in the Napa Valley area. They're in Mexico and Peru. Where else? All over the country. Los Angeles. So you're welcome to share this with other people. And just to let you know, we're here for you. Our practitioners are willing to pray with you after the services, or if you fill out a prayer request online or in the lobby, we'll be praying with you. And knowing that, we have conversations after and coffee after this service to connect with each other, and also meditation on Wednesday evenings at 5:30 here in the sanctuary. And new thing we found, we have a collection of now 6 singing bowls, and we've been playing all of them. People that are there for the meditation can play their own bowl kind of thing, so it's kind of fun to do, be a part of it in that way. And then if you have any other questions, our website has all the information you need. If there's still more questions or just you want elaboration on that, just call the church office, and Mary's always glad to help you. She's not able to answer. She'll always return your call that day. So thank you. Thank you, Mary, for being a part of that, and thank you all for being a part of this community as we continue into our sacred time.
Turn within and know that the Spirit is here with us right now. And as we let go of every thought that we have and just open ourselves to that sense of knowing that God is everywhere, present always, I invite you right now to sink into your chair and to allow that Spirit to envelop you into whoever you are right this minute. Let's take a few minutes of silence. And I give thanks for the energy that Spirit brings to each and every one of us. And I know that this place, this sanctuary, is a blessing to me and to each and every person who comes here. And I give thanks for that. And so I would just like to begin my journey today with a little thought about what inspires me and moves me forward creatively and moves me forward in joy, in playfulness. And that's working in my yard. And it used to be that I would go with my friends during the weekend and we'd go to a bar, we'd go outside and we'd dance and sing and we'd have a beer or a glass of wine. And lately I've been saying, you know what? It's time for me to go home and play in my garden. I got to dig in the dirt. The sun is shining and I get really empowered by that. So I was thinking this year, a couple of weeks ago maybe, that Lori had done such a fabulous job for our center last year, and it's kind of like not looking so good. So I wanted to help and, party up the place. And then I talked to Lori, and she's got her ideas, and she had Joanna, who was on board, and Karen, and then I knew that Dana wanted to come in and help too. And so we just all got together, and yesterday we cleared out, Marv too was there, cleared out bags. You can look at them all on the side of the bags of leaves and things that had been piling up and rearranging. Lori went out and bought us some plants, and the place looks gorgeous. And we all were saying to each other, wow, isn't this satisfying? Isn't this great? So that's what pulls me forward in joy. And I know that if you think about it, you'll find within yourself what brings joy to you, and you'll just go and do it. I remember when I was a little child, and I used to tell my mother, I'm bored. And she'd say, well, go find something to do. And that's true, if you think of it, you just go and do it. So I encourage each and every one of you to go and find something that fills your soul and just do it and be glad. And you won't be disappointed. Whatever turns up, you'll be happy about it. So I just give thanks for this, and I have a little affirmation for you, and you can repeat it with me. So I give thanks for the joy in my life. And the opportunity to bring it forward for myself and for everyone around me. And so it is.
Yes. Well, you can always go to the board meeting.
Lots of joy.
Lots of joy there. Hey. Imagine me and you, I do. I think about you day and night. It's only right to think about the God you love and hold her tight. So happy together. I should call you up, invest a dime, and you say you belong to me, and ease my mind. Imagine how the world could be so very fine, so happy together. I can't see me loving nobody but you for all my life. When you're with me, Lordy, the skies will be blue for all my life. Me and you and me, no matter how they toss the dice, it had to be. The only one for me is you, and you for me, so happy together. can't see me, Lord, and nobody but you for all my life. When you're with me, Lordy, the skies will be blue for all my life. Ba 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 ba. Everybody. Ba 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 for all my life. Me and you and me. No matter how they toss the dice, it had to be. The only one for me is you, and you for me. So happy together, so happy together, so happy together.
Let's give him a round of applause. So beautiful, Bodhi. So fitting our topic. Obviously, you chose that today for So Happy Together.
Oh my God, what a coincidence.
I just wanted to tie it in for them. I got it. Thank you, Bodhi. Hey, before you leave the microphone, I just want to, on a little sadder note, and then I'll get to the happy note, but we've been holding in prayer the Ukraine and the community there. And Bodhi's been to the Ukraine a couple times.
Yeah.
And has a personal connection. And I just wondered, from your personal connections, what do you hear about how the people in Ukraine are doing?
Well, obviously, you know, it's a mixed bag, and we've heard a lot and seen a lot, and I've been tracking it just in my own heart. And last night I had a long talk with Barbara Leger, who, if you know her, she's I went with her with Ukraine twice, and I was the music director for the conference, and I recorded an album there. And so anyway, last night I heard, yeah, it's been pretty difficult. Some people are doing okay. She's doing lots of prayer with all her new group there, and she's let go of the spiritual center, which they can't call a learning center, and they're kind of on their own. She started an educational center, and they have hundreds of teachers and students they're working with. But some of the personal friends of mine, like a young friend who made my ocarina, I've played sometime, my little golden ocarina, he gifted that to me. He's doing okay, but another friend, a lot of families have been split up because they've had to leave and go different places, and people have left the country and moved back to different places. So it's a bit chaotic, and it's rough, and it's a hard time. At the same time, very resilient people, very beautiful people, and as we know, there's always cycles of conflict and peace, and right now is a rough time, and we're just praying that the peace will abide soon, and people can come together and realize that we all want the same thing, we all need the same thing: food, shelter, and love. So it was really great to hear that they're okay. They're just having a rough time and having to move around, and so like that's what's happening there, and we'll see how it unfolds, you know, how it plays out. The Krishna and Arjuna, you know, it's that the Bhagavad Gita, the war of it's like it's happening now. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, that's a little brief update from what I've heard from my personal friends there, and although the ones that are down in Crimea, I knew they're doing okay as well. I had some friends there who have been moving around and creating their own businesses. Young people have opportunities still, even though it's rough. It's amazing. The Science of Mind community is very powerful, and all the young people I met are doing amazing work over there. All the ones I knew when they were 12, 13, 14, and now they're young adults in their 20s, and you know they're being participatory adults in the community now. So it's really beautiful to see that unfold, and the seeds that we planted over the years to help them really access their inner strength to keep going.
Yeah. So what he's referring to, there's Reverend Barbara Leger started a community there, and was it in Crimea?
Or no, it was in Cherkasy, but we would always meet in the
for the conference.
Summer. The conference in the late summer and fall would be in Crimea. Down on we got to swim with the dolphins and be on the Black Sea, and visit historical sites and such like that. But yeah, the center was in Cherkasy, which is south of Kiev, and it's right along the Dinesh River, the Dinesh, what's that word? Dinesh, the word river?
I don't know.
Donetsk River, Donetsk, and it flows, it's a beautiful river, kind of like the Sacramento flows down our valley down here. It's like that's the big river, and the main city's on there, so it's a beautiful place.
Beautiful. Well, thank you, buddy, for your prayers and your action there. So thank you. Let's give him a round of applause. And today's talk that I have is about community, and I think it's important that even though their community has been split some, there's still, because of the bond they had in that community, there's still connections. And there's still the tools and principles they learned in this community and at these retreats is still available to them. And they want to come back together as a community. Right now, it is a split, sort of like us in the pandemic, we were split apart, but even more so now because it's war that has split them apart. And so it's sad, and we continue to hold them in prayer and love and know that the long arc of peace will return. And just keep knowing that. And Reverend Barbara may come and speak here. We're going to be talking to her about ways that we, as a community, we can help that community there. And I'll let you know more about that in time. So, and you know, this talk today is about So Happy Together, but it's also what I know about our love. Our love and joy is magnified in community, but this is also a place for support and empathy, any community you're part of. But I experience it in this community, that there is passion and compassion. There is joy, and there's also empathy as we need it, as we seek it. We find that connection, and that it's magnified and multiplied whether our communities are a family or social or a faith community. I know for some of us, our families, at least our families of origin, are not always supportive. They're not always nurturing. And for others of us, they're definitely a part of who our community is. And as we get older, we have the community we choose, or the community we are creating, or the community that we are building as we speak, inviting people, so to speak, adopting a new community. And I hope this community is part of the communities that support you, the part of the communities that you share your joy and share your happiness with and your clarity with. I heard a story the other day about there was a church who was going through a fundraising, kind of like what we're doing our Sip and Savor, and we're doing in a month and a half. And the minister got up and said, "Okay, we're going to have a fund a need here, and anybody who's willing to donate $1,000 gets to choose the next 3 hymns." And so an elderly lady raised her hand. She goes, I'll do that. So a 90-year-old woman comes up on stage, and the minister goes, great, so what hymns are you going to choose? And she looked out over everybody, goes, I'll choose him, and him. Now, we're not going to be offering hymns or hers for our Sip and Savor, but it is part of that community uplifting and connecting and allowing that is a greater truth of who we are. And that we are able to share the love and compassion we experience here at this center with others. Because this Sip and Savor is not meant for just our community. It's meant for the larger Napa Valley community and beyond the Bay Area, visiting people who might come in, because we want to share this community. We want to share the blessing that we have, and not only the compassion we have in the community, but the compassion we have out in this valley and beyond. And we want to be able to share that, not because we're trying to convert anybody or get everybody to attend here. This is just, it's something that who we are, that we want to expand this circle that we are. Expand this love that we are. because we have more than enough of love, because we know where we tap into that love is within us, and an infinite source of love. And I like what Brene Brown talked about in her talk about vulnerability and belonging in community. She says, belonging in a community does not require us to change who we are, but to be who we are. So hopefully this is a place where you feel comfortable to be who you are, to show up fully, to be present, and to tell the truth of what's revealing itself in you, because we also know that Ernest Holmes, our founder, talked about that within every person, you can reveal the truth. Every person, the truth is revealed through each and every person can reveal. You don't have to depend on me or anybody else. That when you sit in the stillness, the truth is revealed in you and expressed through you in your own unique way. So we continue to walk through this month with the Playful Spirit. And we know in community like this, when we have a philosophy or a way of life as a playful spirit, that there's space for play and humor and a lightness of being. And we can build relationship filled with joy and meaning. And we can tap into that capacity for balance and joy and freedom. And I'm so happy that you are part of this community that we are now, whether you're online or here in person. For those of you who are online, you need to know that this room is pretty full right now. We still have chairs spaced out at this time, but we'll soon in April, we'll be moving outdoors and room for all to be there. And continuing as CDC recommends, will be hopefully more open and able to come together in all ways that we seek to do that. So this idea that we are happy together, that we are connected together, that love and joy continues to expand in the community we are. The first thing I want to let you know today is that love and joy are always knocking at your door. Think of it as spirit that knocks at your door as a persistent friend who says, can you come out and play? Do you have time to be present, to be playful, to be creative, to have fun, to not be so darn serious, right? I know I struggle with that too. There's just a lot of things to think about. But Spirit is calling us to be more spontaneous, more present, not so filled with our thoughts that often I call the cows that creep into our brain, that are the couldas, the oughtas, the wouldas, and the shouldas. It's those cows that keep us from being present, and Spirit is simply asking us to be present. You know, not only is our thinking not who we really are, but our thinking about our thinking is really not who we are, right? Or our thinking about our thinking about our thinking. But who we really are is underneath all that. It's fine to have those thoughts, because you can't really stop them if you wanted to. You can slow them down, but you can't stop them. But just to know that you are something greater, and that something greater is beyond us that we can experience by simply answering the door. So I want to play a fun little clip. I don't remember a few years ago we featured the movie Frozen. And there's just this little clever little song that I really enjoy playing.
Elsa? Do you want to build a snowman? Come on, let's go and play. I never see you anymore. Come out the door, it's like you've gone away. We used to be best buddies, and now we're not. I wish you would tell me why. Do you want to build a snowman? It doesn't have to be a snowman. Go away, Anna. Okay, bye.
The analogy for Spirit knocking at our door, and do we need to return to a childlike feeling or philosophy to be able to let go and allow this playfulness to come forward as we continue to just listen to Spirit. Spirit is asking us to open up. I love the poetry of Rumi, who suggests it might be the other way around, that if we really want joy, we need to be knocking on the door. Keep knocking, and the joy inside will eventually open a window and look out to see who's there. So we need to invite this joy in. And as our faith matures, as we become adults, so to speak, some of you, I know it's questionable whether you're adults, but most of you, I think growing up is overrated, you know. And growing older is underrated at the same time. But as we grow up and we keep knocking, Spirit keeps inviting us to come out. How are we locked into our emotions that think we can't play, or frozen into our thinking it has to be a certain way? So now we advance in the movie, 30 years later, who knows?
I'm trying to, I'm right out here for you, just let me in. We only have each other, it's just you and me. What are we gonna do? Do you want to build a snowman?
So the question is, what keeps you locked in that you think life has to be a certain way? What keeps us that way, locked into the walls of belief system or a way of being? That if we let Spirit and let this joy in, we can let go of the way things are. I'm a basketball fan, especially this time of the year with March Madness, NCAA, and there's this small school called St. Peter's, and they're like not even in the top 50 of the best basketball teams as far as ratings, but they're in the final 8. So it's a pretty amazing story. And part of the reason they have such a good team is they have players that didn't follow the traditional track of being a basketball player, and they're really developing. One player is fascinated by his story. He's from Bali. And he grew up, he didn't want to play basketball because that's a girl's sport. He wanted to play soccer, or what he would call football. And isn't it funny how that's a reverse here in some ways? In just belief systems we grow up in, and we get solidified into that way. But if we just let those cows, keep them out somewhere else. Put them in another pasture. Send them out somewhere else. So our couldas, oughtas, wouldas, and shouldas. And we just allow our lightness of being here, living every day, which is our living everyday wonder, which is our natural state. So we move into this, and when we allow love and joy to be shared in a community, it is magnified in so many ways. A community of our choosing, that is. Now, the origins of the word community are interesting. The phrase com means with or together, to make common. And add to that the unity part of it, community, like duh, means oneness and union. So with together, we become one. You think of the word communion, which is also about coming together in this oneness, but also communicate, which means with together, we open into each other. I thought that was interesting. I know we think of it as back and forth communication, but it's actually, the origins of the word is into each other, so that we come together and sharing this oneness, this unity in what community is. And I know that this joy and happiness, when we're willing to show up with it, it is multiplied and expanded. I was about 10 years ago, a little more than 10 years ago, I was completing my ministerial studies. And this was a long dream of mine for over 30 years, and something in the process of classes and, thinking I was going to wait till the kids got older and, just different excuses I made, but the call for ministry became louder and louder. So I finished my coursework. I passed the exams I had to take. And in many ways, this was like a marathon, that I was running, because it was a lot of work to get complete and do that. And the final thing I had to do was to come before a panel of ministers, and they basically had to approve whether I was ready in body, mind, heart, and spirit before I was officially licensed as a minister. And what was interesting at that time, it was done at Asilomar. Now, some of you have gone to Asilomar for the annual CSL conference. It used to be. It's no longer there, but it used to be. And what was wonderful is because the ministers who pass their panels, there was a big meadow out in the common area, and there was an arch, and they would walk through this arch, and there would be literally 100 people there cheering them on as they walked through the arch. And it was a beautiful thing because so many people were already there. Now they do it differently, and there's still people there to support, but it's not hundreds of people. So it's really fun to do. So it was my year of doing that, and I had a few friends with me and Michelle, and we walked up this hill to where this panel was, where they were waiting for me to interview me. And I was in a contemplative, kind of reflective mode, because I didn't know what the panel was going to be about, and I wanted to be present with them, and I wanted to be in a sacred moment with them. And I was also a little anxious, because I wanted to be a minister so bad, and this was the last step I had to do to get there. So we walked up the hill, and I went into the room by myself, and there were these three ministers, and to my delight, I found out they were not there to judge me or evaluate me. They were there to celebrate me, celebrate my consciousness and my ministry, and they approved and said yes to me. So I was still kind of in this contemplative mood, and I just walked out of there, and I was just talking to myself. I'm a minister. I'm a minister. And then it just bubbled up louder and louder until I went, I'm a minister, right? And then we walked down the hill together, those friends and Michelle, and I walked through the arch, and this is me jumping for joy. And I reflected on that later. If that moment had been just by myself or maybe with Michelle, I would have felt this inner joy, inner accomplishment, and felt proud of myself, but not like this. This was a celebration of joy. And people were cheering me on, and, it was like completing a marathon, a race. I just crossed the finish line, and it was great to celebrate it. It was a moment, if I had not planned what I was going to do, but suddenly people were cheering, so, I was in the moment feeling that. And that is true for any community we're in, that our joy and our love is magnified in that way, in just being willing to show up and be present. I know the way that we show up is also important to be cooperative, inclusive, and the way of the feminine energies within all of us. To include everybody in that, not just showing up and you have a select group of friends or people you go to class with. You're glad to see those people, and let's make sure we're including everybody in this joy and this love together. I come from a very competitive family, and from everything, from running and biking and card games and everything. I remember I was about 15 years ago, Michelle and I went to a reunion with my family, and we were playing the game Hearts. You know, Hearts is just a card game, right? No. So I was in the lead. I was doing great. I had single digits. Hearts, if you don't know that, the lower the score, the better. And so I was in single digits. Everybody was way beyond me, and I was feeling good. And then I realized how intense I was, just like really intense. And Michelle was sitting next to me, and I could see she was kind of light about it. She didn't really care. I go, why am I so serious about this? You know, just let it go and have fun. And so I lightened up a little bit, and my brother, bless my brother, came and swooped in and took all the hearts and beat me. But that was okay, because that's the mode where only one person wins. We're really in a place where everybody wins. Find a way, a win-win for everybody. I was at a conference one time, and we played volleyball. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's kind of like volleyball. But the net goes all the way to the walls, and you can bounce the ball against the wall. It's like in a gym. And I thought, this is great, you know, you can really bang the ball and really knock it there. But the facilitator said, by the way, there's no rules in this game. I go, what do you mean no rules? And so I started, you know, using my height to take advantage, and I slammed the ball, and I'd go on the floor, and I'd go, yay, but nobody else was cheering because there were no points. And somebody else bounced the ball under the net, and I'm going, you can't do that. No rules. So maybe we need to stop playing by the rules so much. We have guidelines, yes, but open up to Spirit in other ways, in new ways of doing things, and not ways that are so restrictive they have to be a certain way, and opening up. And finally, what we want to do is to be willing to be seen. Here we talk about seeing the divine in others. And we even talk about seeing the divine in ourselves. But my question for you, are you open in a way that allows others to see the divine in you? Which also means you need to be willing for them to see the human in you. You probably heard the phrase, to dance as if no one's watching, sing like no one's listening. I'd also like to add to that, to be open, like it doesn't matter if you're understood or hurt. Seek to understand rather than to be understood. The pathway of belonging and happiness, in the end, as Mother Teresa would say, is between you and God. It was never about the other person anyway. And yet it is about the other person. Because it's in our relationships and in our community that we are able to mirror back to us our divinity. That we see the divine in ourselves when we see the divine in others. It's not about seeking to get something from someone, something we need, but seeking a deeper connection with the divine in that way. I love the way Brené Brown talks about community. Speaking of one of our female spiritual heroes in this life, the way she talks about vulnerability. Because what she says, which she didn't want to know this, but vulnerability was the way to happiness. And she found it out through her left brain, through research, and her heart wasn't willing at first to be vulnerable, but she now speaks it and lives it in that way. And she says that we're in a spiritual crisis right now because we know, first of all, she said, that the human connection is necessary for us to experience the divine. That Spirit flows between us and every other human in the world, this spiritual connection. And it's not something that can be broken, but we think it is. And when we think it's been broken, then we tend to retreat in our bunkers, to hate from afar, to tolerate cultural myths and lies, and to humanize others. And instead for us to recognize that something's greater than us, And it can't be broken, this connection, even though our mind makes up that it has been, or that we're broken, or this connection is broken. She says that true belonging is the spiritual practice of believing in and belonging to yourself so deeply that you can share your most authentic self with the world and find sacredness in both being a part of something and standing alone. True belonging does not require you to change who you are. It requires you to be who you are, with an emphasis on be. I ran across this little ad campaign, and it was really about when you're walking or running or biking or in your car, to have your headlights on, to have your lights on your bike, or to wear reflective gear. But I think it's also metaphorical for how we can show up in community, to be willing to be bright, to be our bright selves, and to be seen. To take a seat at the table in the community and to listen, to have hard conversations at times, to seek moments of togetherness, of that coming together in unity. We know that this human connection is a renewable source of our courage, and that we are not dependent on one person, a situation, or a relationship for this connection. We're not dependent on our family of origin. We're not dependent on anything at all, because the connection begins within with Spirit. And we can reignite that connection with anybody, as long as we're willing to show up and be present fully and to tell the truth. What I also want to say is, not only do we seek to be bright and be seen individually, but as a community we seek to be bright and be seen. That there are people who know about us but don't know about us at the same time. And like I said, we're not seeking to convert everybody. We're seeking to share the joy and the love we have here. To be willing just to be us in that way. To open the door of our sanctuary and let the love and joy out. Because we know the love and the joy we experience here can be magnified in our relationships. It allows us to express our divinity so others can see and experience their divinity as well. So we know that in this time, that we are willing to allow this joy and love to magnify within us and within this community, that it makes a difference in the world. Let us go to prayer. What I know in this moment, that there is only Spirit. And that Spirit connects us through light and love and joy, and even in our sadness, our despair, our disappointment. That it is the neural connecting points within us. So I know in this moment, it's in this connection that each and every one of us, the Spirit is available to us as we seek that which we are seeking. And Spirit knows through us, as us, this greatness that we are. And for this, we are so grateful and so blessed in this moment. We know that whatever prayer request you may have, whether it's just within you or one you have already expressed, we know the Spirit hears that prayer request as well. For you, for your loved ones, for all people in Ukraine and around the world. We know the truth of who we are and who we open up to be, as we know the greater truth is so. And for this we declare to be so, and so it is. Thank you, Bodhi. We talked about having him on here a Sunday afternoon or sometime to do a sound healing workshop. So we'll set a date for that because it'd be fun to do that. Now that we have so many bowls and different things, so it'd be fun to have that. So great. This time in our service, we invite you to be part of our sharing of our abundance. We know that which you give and donate, whether it be time, talents, and treasures, multiplies and expands in your life in so many ways. We also appreciate your supporting our vision and mission in all that we do. There's a number of ways you can do to participate in the law of circulation here, which includes giving online, texting, or making checks available out to the center, either mailing them in, or if you want to give here in person, you're welcome to do that as well. There's baskets in front and in back. You can bring your donations there in a few minutes. We do that. But for now, just take that which you're giving, whether it be of the heart or your financial contributions, and hold it up to your heart and repeat the affirmation. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate, and so it is. Feel free to come up and use the baskets, either in the front or the back.
God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Give me everything I need. Everything. God is my source. God is my power. Gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need.
Thank you, Bodhi, and thank you for your contributions, whether they be online or here in person. I just know that these donations of time, talent, and treasure move on to expand our vision and mission, as well as your own personal vision and mission, and so it is. We also like to welcome people here who might be here for the first time. We have a small welcome packet for you if you're willing to raise your hand and let us know you're here for the first time. You're welcome. Thank you for being with us. And if you're online for the first time, feel free to let us know where you're streaming in from. Anybody else right here for the first time up here? Are you here for the first time today? Okay, there you go. Thank you for being with us today. And thank you for joining us, whether this is your umpteenth time or your first time in a while. We have a blessing for you as we raise our hands and we say, we bless you today, knowing that the peace and happiness you seek is also seeking you. We honor your inner radiance as you let your light shine in the world. We are grateful for your presence in our community, and so it is. And then we do the community affirmations. You have to repeat after me. before I do that, just a couple of reminders is there are tickets. If you want to buy tickets to Day 7 Savor, they're out here. Prayer requests are done out in the lobby, or you can stay here with practitioners for prayers. And then thank you for being here and part of our community today. Okay, now, something wonderful is happening through me right now. I am led by Spirit. I am guided by wisdom. I am protected by love. I am here to be a blessing. I am so grateful. And so it is. All yours. Let's up. Either raise your hands or connect with someone else if you feel comfortable doing that.
Let there be peace on earth,
And let it begin. Peace begin with me. Let this be a moment now. Let every step and let it begin with me. We go forward, we know we are peace. We also know rain today. And we know the blessings of life, and so it is.